Hello folks, Junkie Rock 13 here. Everything vaping related, it's Junkie Rock 13. Here bringing you another review, and today we are bringing you the GG, the Gloden Greek Penelope. This is a rebuildable atomizer. You can kind of say it is like the little sister to the big Odysseus. Okay, we're going to take a look at this. Right now I have it on the Provari, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on the GG TV in a little bit. So let's talk about it, see how I put it together, fill it up, and see how it vapes. Take a look. Alrighty folks, we're going to start off with preparing the no resistant and resistant wire for the Penelope. What I have here is 32 gauge pure nickel no resistant wire. Now this has been a topic for a lot of people that they cannot find it, and Clouds of Vapor seems to be always out of stock, but I have found a supplier on eBay that has the pure nickel. They also have the silver. The silver is more expensive, but in my opinion the nickel works just as good for me. This is 32 gauge pure nickel, and this is the resistant wire, which is 32 gauge Kanthal. So what you need is 2 pieces of no resistant wire, around 3 inches a piece. That's the size that I usually cut them to. And for the video, this is a little bit longer, so I can tell the difference apart. But usually around 3 inches also for the Kanthal. I'm just going to take and put a little bend in the Kanthal so I can tell the difference apart. These are the same gauge and they're the same basic color and same texture, so I can't really tell them apart, and I don't want to mix them up. But this one's longer anyhow. So what I'm going to do is take the no resistant wire, 1 piece of this, and the Kanthal, and I'm just going to take one end of each and cross them just like that to make the letter V. Okay? Now I want you to make sure you pinch right at the intersection and take both wires and just twist them together like a bread tie. But do it nice and tight. Okay, so you end up with something like that. Okay. Alright, now what you want to do is take the no resistant wire, which is this one, and we're going to straighten that out just a little bit. We're going to take the no resistant wire and we're going to pull it straight out. Okay? So now what you have is the resistant wire, okay, the resistant wire with the bend in it, stop shaking, and the bread tie twist with the no resistant wire basically running parallel with it. Now there is a little V, another little V right there, okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pinch that little V and basically take these 2 wires and twist these together. Now you're not going to do as many twists as you did the last time. But just enough. Okay? So now with that little excess right there, I got my little needle nose pliers that have the little cutter on it, and I'm just gonna snip right there. So basically, I just had a little loop in there that I want to take out. So basically what you end up with is a joint looking like that. Okay? Okay, you can still tell this is the resistant wire over here because of the bend. Now, I like my Penelope to run right around 1.5 to 1.8 ohms. So I know that I usually run that a little bit around an inch. Okay, my multimeter seems to be on the fritz right now, so I cannot show you how to test it. But what I would do is put the multimeter on here, one end on the joint here, and then I would go down and see how far, what ohms I would like, and where it is, that's what the next joint would be. So if it was 1.5 and it was right here, I would make my next joint right there. So I know it's about an inch. Okay, so right there is where I'm going to start my next joint with the other no resistant wire. So I'm going to hold my finger right there. I'm going to take the other no resistant wire and make another V right there. Let me just take this out of the picture. I'm going to make another V right there. So now I'm going to twist them wires like I did the first time, the bread tie turn. Twist them really nice and tight. Okay. Now again, I'm going to take my no resistant wire that's up here and pull it out. Okay, this is just the resistant wire in the. Okay. Let me just straighten that out. This is my no resistant wire right here, and I'm going to pull it out and make another V right there. Okay. I'll hold my fingernail right down at that joint, at that intersection. Okay. And then I'm going to give it a couple twists. Now, I've had people that have had some serious issues making these wires. It really is not that hard, but I remember the first couple times I did it, they didn't come out that good. So then I'm just going to cut off the excess like I did on the other side. Okay. So now what you have is a section with resistant wire in here and no resistance on both sides. Okay, there and there. Okay, now we are ready to wrap the wick. Now what I have is a piece of 3mm silica wick, and what I'm actually going to do is take one of these joints, one of these little twist tie areas, and place it right on about the center of the wick. Okay, and then I am just going to take the resistant section and just wrap it nice and close without crossing over each other. right in the same little section. Okay, so here is my wick that I just made, and then I'm going to have both ends of the wires come down on one side. Focus, please. Okay, it's not the prettiest looking one, but it will work. Okay, so I'm going to put this out to the side, and I'm going to pull in the Penelope. Move that paper towel. Pull in my next paper towel. Okay, folks, so here is the Penelope. I'm going to start off right here with the silicone, or excuse me, the ceramic cup. I'm going to actually take this apart and show you what it looks like inside. Okay, this is just a little ceramic piece here. There's actually a piece, whoops, I caught it, a little threaded piece in there. That goes in there with this little slotted side facing up. Okay, and this is just a stainless steel housing that is threaded on the outside, and one chamber is open on one side and one chamber on the other side has stainless steel in it. Okay, I'm going to put that back in there. Alright, now I'm going to take this little metal piece and drop it back in there. Okay, set this down, and here is your pin. Okay, this is your positive pin. It has a little O-ring, a knurled nut, and this is part of the pin actually, and a little Delrin washer that goes right there. So now I'm going to place that back in the bottom of the housing, and I'm going to start threading it into that little metal piece there. So I'm just going to take a little screwdriver and put it in that little groove in there so I can hold it down, and then just tighten the positive post on there. Okay, now it needs to be nice and snug. You don't need to over tighten it to crack your ceramic or not. Now I'm going to take this little knurled knot and put it back on that little groove, or them threads, I'm sorry, and then the O-ring will go back on the bottom of that post. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to put your wick in here. So right where you have the wrapped wick, just tighten this up a little and make sure it's not loose or touching. Okay, and it's just going to sit right in the center of that cup with both of the wicks and both of the wire leads coming down the sides. Now what I like to do first is take the side that has the open chamber. You can see the ceramic. I like to keep this open up down here and hold the top piece and pull down this wire into that chamber, or into that little groove, and then thread it in between there, and just wrap it once and tighten up that bottom nut. Okay, so now your positive connection is connected. Now the excess wire, you can just give it a few turns and it'll break off nice and flush. And then you're just going to take your silica wick and put it down into that chamber, hold it down in there. Now the other side, what I do is I pull it down into that metal chamber side, stainless steel chamber side, and then pull the wick right over it and squeeze them together so they're nice and in there, nice and tight. Now that you have that on there nice and tight with this wire hanging out, you're going to take this little knurled nut and it'll go around and onto the threads of your wick housing. Now just bring it down around halfway down the threads. I'm going to show you what I like to do. Take the no resistant wire on the negative side and pull it up so it kind of looks like that right now. Now what I'm going to need to do is trim this wicks. So let me just grab the scissors right here. Okay, where I like to trim them is right about the O-ring area. Okay, so the wicks kind of look like that. Alrighty, so I'm going to set this down for a second and show you the bottom piece that we're going to be working with next. Now it's the 5 connection piece, and it looks like there's no positive post in there because that is what this is going to be. Okay, so now it is nice and threaded on top here with an O-ring, and inside you can see it. Okay, now it actually has some marking in there. I'm thinking that it actually ground it out a little bit. It might have burned the metal a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. What you need to do next is hold the wicks in together next to the center post. Put it in there and screw that down onto there. Now you may need to move this nut up or down, but what I like to do is bring it down until the positive post is just hanging out of the 510 connection there, just enough to make connection on the device. And then with the wire hanging out like this, I'm going to take this nut and tighten it all the way down right to that bottom piece there. Tighten it down nice and snug. So now with this wire, you're just going to give it a few turns and it'll come right off. So now your coil is ready to be checked. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Provari right now, and I'm going to put this on the Provari. Alright, and I have some juice in a syringe. I'm just going to put a few drops just so I'm not giving it a dry burn. I mean, if you really wanted to, you can. I prefer not to. Alright, I'm just going to make sure the coil is looking good. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to test the ohms on here. Okay, and it's at 1.7. I know you can't see with the lighting, but it is 1.7, and that's exactly where I like to have it. I usually like to around 1.5 to 1.8, 1.9 is where I usually like to keep it. So now I'm going to take it back off the device, and I'm going to show you the rest of the pieces of the Penelope. I could just set that right there for a minute. This is the mouthpiece for the Penelope. Okay, so you cannot use your Ming drip tips or anything. It is just a right straight pipe mouthpiece. And it's kind of unique with the little tri area. Looks like a triangle on there. Okay, and the mouthpiece has this little tube, and it's going to act as your juice flow control also. Okay, I'm going to show you how that works. Now you notice with the wicks on the side of this housing right here, it's going to wick juice up this wick. With the mouthpiece, okay, with it screwed all the way down, your device is not going to get no juice. With one turn, you'll notice that it opens up a little bit. With another couple turns, it opens up that much more. And if you wanted to open it up all the way, if you had thicker juice and it wasn't juicing, or it wasn't wicking well, you could open it up all the way. Okay? But in the beginning, oh, excuse me for 1 second. Before I go any further, I am going to put more juice on here before I put it together. That's how I like to start out my Penelope, with a fresh wick. Put some on the side down here. Okay. I'm going to put the mouthpiece back on. All the way down. There we go. So now we're going to take, I'm going to set that down, take the tank piece with the very nicely engraved GG wings, with the little device in the middle of the wings there. You can see that nice. And it's threaded on one section as like a male part, and threaded on the other section as a female part. Okay, it's nicely stainless steel. Now what you're going to need to do is put this right over the mouthpiece with the female part down, and just screw it onto the bottom base down there. Now with that O-ring right there, you want to screw it down all the way down. Tighten it all the way. Okay? Now you'll notice that little triangle piece in there. It gives you that little section to stick a syringe down in there to fill up the juice. Now you can fill it up with a juice bottle up against the mouthpiece and just let it drip down, but I prefer the syringe and putting it right into that little groove there and just squirting it down there. I don't want to overflow it, so I'm going really slow. Okay, I see juice right at the top there. And then the last two pieces, let me just move that little piece of wick over. The last two pieces of the Penelope is a rubber thick O-ring, okay, and the top cap. Okay, I usually put the O-ring right into the top cap, push it all the way down there, put your O-ring right over with the top cap right over the mouthpiece, and screw it right down onto the top. This device is a very easy, nice and sturdy, rebuildable atomizer that is quality made. So there's the close-up of the Penelope. Let's take a look at how it vapes and talk real quick about it. Alrighty, so there you go. There is the close-up of the Penelope and how I made the no resistant wire and how I filled it and put it together. The Penelope, compared to the Odysseus, has less parts and is less complicated. Not the Odysseus is really complicated, but it's less complicated. Now the Penelope is a very, very nice looking device. It's got that thin, slim tank look to it. The engraving on it, the wings, is very nicely done. Nice and deeply engraved. The only issue I could say about the finish is the same thing with all the GG devices, is their fingerprint magnets, but I kind of like the shiny stainless steel look. So the Penelope is right up my alley. I'll show you how it vapes, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, now I just filled this, so the juice control is all the way closed. So what I do is when I fill it up, well, when I put it together, I showed you I put juice on the wick. Now I vape it for a couple hits, and then I'll give it one little turn, okay, and that'll open up the juice control valve there, and it'll little juice in there. Now if you get any gurgling when you just dry pull on it, you'll know that you need to close this down and have less juice coming in. So that being said, I love the juice control. I like it because if you have a thicker juice, 100% VG or 70% VG, and some rebuildables don't wick very well with thicker juices, but this seems to be working very well. The silica is a nice wicking material. It absorbs a lot of juice. Sometimes with the VG it don't absorb it as fast. That's why with opening it up, it allows more juice to come in. It wicks it just perfect. I don't normally get dry hits with the Penelope. The only occasions I get a dry hit is if the tank is empty, and I don't know it's empty because the stainless steel doesn't allow me to see into it, but they do have clear tanks for these. Carfanis, I think the name is. I believe that Avid Vapors has Carfanis clear tanks for this. But there are sold on the UK Vapors site through Carfanis and a couple other places. I think Vapor World or Vapor Wall, one of them. But the Penelope is a very, very nice device. I am very satisfied with it. A lot of people are looking after this. Now this was meant for a device that is going to be made by Imeo himself, called the Proteus. So it was like the P&P, the Penelope and Proteus. It's going to be a 14500 variable voltage device, so it's going to be the same slim look. I can't wait for that to come out. And until then, I'm going to take this off the Penelope, or off the Provari, set that down, and show you what it looks like on the GG TB. This is the way I've been using this. Now the one thing you will have to do with this, now I hope the lighting is going to pull this. Okay, on the GGTB, you'll notice that there's the wings, and then it says GG there, or the GG. Okay, but the wings over here are right there. Now, when we screw down the center post, you can adjust that to come out more, or to come out not so much, and that will determine where the wings are going to be placed when you tighten this down. Now, it has been kind of difficult to figure it out. You have to put it all together, put it on, and then place it. Then take it all back apart, pull the center post out a little bit, or push it in a little bit, and then line it back up. I've had them lined up a few times, really nice, and they look perfect. I've taken a couple pictures of them like that, but for the most part, when I put it together, I don't have an exact science of where the wings are going to be. But let me show you how it vapes on the GGTB. Now this is a 50-50 blend juice, and it's wicking perfect. The taste is great. The throat hit is awesome. I'm really digging the Penelope. Now I've had this for quite a while. I've been putting off doing a video on this. I don't know why. I have no reason. But I just didn't get around to it. I've been doing videos on other things. But here is the Penelope, and I finally got around to it. I still haven't even done the GGTS and the Odysseus. I know people have done it. I like to put out my opinion on what I think about it. I'm going to get around to the Odysseus and the GGTS sooner or later. But the Penelope is a total win for me. The problem about the Penelope is that they're hard to get, and when they are in stock, it seems to go by quick. They were in stock for a while, and I jumped on one the first day they came out. I was right there the minute they were released. Got mine. It was the same day the Odysseus came out the same day, the version 2, and I got it. I got them both at the same time. Very lucky to have one. People have traded these for some significant devices, and the reason being is they're a very nice device. They work well, they're sturdy. This is going to last you forever, made out of stainless steel. There are replacement ceramic cups that you might need to replace. I have broken one by dropping the ceramic cup, and I didn't see where it fell, and I stepped on it and cracked it. But I had a couple replacements, and I put it right in there. They're a couple bucks a piece. Now, Clouds of Vapor always has replacement parts, pieces for this if you lose something or something breaks, which I don't think is going to happen because of the stainless steel. And Imeo has been great with all of his tutorials and the threads on the ECF. You can find answers real quick and easy through them threads. But Bruce down at Clouds of Vapor has been a spectacular guy dealing with these, and I give a thumbs up to it. So the Penelope, you want to check it out, go to Clouds of Vapor and get on the notify me list. When they're in stock, you'll get a email. As soon as you get that email, I would get over there and pick it up. The Penelope, bleh, bleh, the Penelope, folks, made by the Gloden Greek GG Imeo. Check them out. I like it. Hope to see everybody at VaporCon. Take care and vape on, everybody.